I think it's been an interesting journey for most of the industry. We were lucky, I think to some degree, lucky in inverted commas, that a lot of the regulatory requirements that underpinned consumer duty were almost piloted first within general insurance. So, we had to do fair value assessments well in advance of the consumer duty coming into force. We had the general insurance pricing practices, which is, then grew arms and legs in the consumer duty across other sectors. So I think we had that head start, and as a result, I think there's been quite a high level of engagement across the industry in both big and small companies, and I think as a result, the FCA has largely been pleased with the reaction of the industry. But I also think there's still probably quite a long way for everybody to go in all sectors. So this is going to be an ongoing piece of work that will probably, be a key focus within most businesses for the next few years, at least.
Yeah, I would say, I think one of the key things we always see with regulation coming through like this, you see different interpretation across the industry, which obviously opens it up to a lot of different options and means that bigger, larger partners that we have different views. And again, to hark back to what we've already sort of talked about, we have to be prepared to offer solutions that are going to suit everybody. While trying to meet the regulator and what they're after. So, there's challenges for advisors with consumer duty that, are owned by the network. We have to try and work with the networks to make sure we support in the best way. And as Phil was saying, that's going to be continuous, isn't it? It's not going to be something that happens instantly. So we'll just have to keep working with the networks, with the people that we already work with to see if we can continue to support.
General observation would be that there have been some fairly small changes, I would say, introduced in the general insurances market as a result of consumer duty because we were ahead of the curve on a lot of things. I think the general insurance pricing practices, the long-term impact on the market of those is still to play out, and I think that might have an impact on how we view fair value in the longer term. There is a lot of ambiguity around some of the consumer duty requirements and what they actually mean to firms in different sectors, and actually I think fair value is going to be one of those that gets a lot of both scrutiny but also feedback over the next 12 months. So I would probably say that's probably the most pressing issue for the FCA from a embedding consumer duty point of view, is to make sure everybody understands what they mean by fair value and can work on it. So I think that's going to be a key area of focus in the next 12 months, and therefore it's the one that the industry hasn't quite got to grips with yet as a whole, but we're moving in the right direction. But it's a journey rather than a destination, I think.
Yeah, and for me, I think the last thing I would say on consumer duty is it's an opportunity. It is an absolute opportunity, and the regulator is kind of really only asking financial advisors and mortgage brokers to kind of do really what they've been doing very well over the years, which is to make sure that they are meeting the customer's financial requirements, their financial needs, and home insurance is one of those. If you're buying a property, or if you're remortgaging and you're taking out mortgage, you need home insurance. So there is absolutely a need there to discuss. So I think there's a huge opportunity to use the consumer duty to your advantage in that sale.
I think Source is a firm that's always taken compliance really seriously, and we've tried to support brokers through that because we recognise that a lot of our long-standing brokers don't have the resources available that Source do. So we've got things like our Learning Lab, we've got people like Gav that speak one-to-one to brokers, face-to-face. Because we recognise we play an important part in supporting brokers on their journey towards satisfying the FCA. I think more of that is going to be coming down the tracks as we develop our understanding of the consumer duty and what it means to us and our customers, which are the brokers, as well as the policyholders. Because as I said earlier, I think there's a bit of development in that understanding to go for the whole industry. And when we reach moments of clarity about, you know, how best to implement something, we will share that with our broker community, and I think they can expect to hear a lot more from us as we get those points of clarity throughout the next 12 months.
Yeah, I would just add to that. You know, I think 2023 has been a difficult year for the market generally. What we've been trying to do is focus on the stuff that Phil just talked about and enhancing our quote and buy technology to make the journey easier for the broker, improving the panel of insurers that we've got, broadening the products that we've got available. They're all things there to help to help deal with some of those challenges. You know, we've launched SourceGo this year. We've also launched our first own branded home insurance product. You know, next year you can look to see our new quote and buy system being rolled out. You'll see new insurers coming onto the panel, and you'll see that common policy wording expanded out with more insurers. So we've got lots of exciting things that we're working on, loads to do. We're really looking forward to it. It's going to be another difficult year, I think, next year, but we're hoping that the stuff that we're developing for our advisors is going to really help them.
Yeah, there's a couple of things I think coming down the pipe into next year, but I think Consumer Duty will continue to be the big thing, and the development of that, and the FCA have already said that they expect to do some more work on fair value and pricing. So I think that'll be a key FCA focus. Also relevant for our market as well, I think, is the fact that the FCA are going to do more work on the networks and the appointed representatives. New changes or new requirements rather come into place this month in December 2023. So there'll be some follow-up work and some oversight into how those new requirements have been adopted. And then more generally, something for the whole financial services market is this cold call ban that the government have started consulting on, and that might take shape, and the government were quite keen to implement that very, very quickly. So we could see that coming into force next year, and how that might impact on the market, because I think at the moment we don't really have a firm definition of what is and what isn't a cold call. So, you know, I think there are going to be some interesting things to play out of that. So, you know, Compliance's day is never dull, and I don't expect 2024 to be any different.
I think with regards to what we've talked about today, you know, specifically Consumer Duty, you've got advisors are, you know, learning about it and still trying to implement how they're going to change their processes and how they're going to change the way they deal with customers and the products they sell. You know, we've been prepared for it and made sure that, you know, there are solutions ready. So we talked about SourceGo today, you know, talking about high quality products, low pricing. That chimes really well with what Consumer Duty is trying to achieve, and obviously we're trying to make sure that, you know, we shout about it, because there are going to be an awful lot of advisors out there that are trying to change their business model to suit the regulatory environment, and we want to be able to say, look, out the box solution, so you can satisfy your customers' needs whenever you're ready to, you know.